Hi, I'm Kelly, and I'm going to show you how to use the 1/4" Clover bias tape maker. That's this little handy tool right here. This is like any other bias tape maker, but it has a little bit extra feature here. If you'll notice on the one side it has this groove, and that groove allows you to feed a piece of paper-backed interfacing along your bias tape and iron it on as your bias tape comes out. And so what happens is when you're finished, you have a piece of 1/4" bias tape, and on the back you have paper-backed adhesive. So you can place this where you want it on your project, and when you're ready to adhere it, you peel off the back. And there's a shiny surface. That's a light iron-on adhesive. So then you put that over and iron it on in place on your project, and it keeps it there. Now this interfacing is very, very light. It seems a little bit thick because it has this paper on it, but it's not. It's very light. The strips that I've cut are cut on the bias. If you don't know how to cut a piece of fabric on the bias, there are a ton of videos on how to do that. I do recommend that you cut your strip a generous 1/2 inch. Not a scant 1/2 inch, but a generous 1/2 inch. And that helps you to be able to have enough fabric to fold over on both edges. Now you don't have to have this iron-on interfacing to use the bias tape maker. And so the first time I'm going to show you how to just use it to make bias tape without the adhesive. And what you want to do is you want to cut a really sharp angle at one end. And then you take your bias tape maker with this open end down and your wrong side of your fabric up, you begin to feed that through. If you turn it over, you'll notice there's a slot where you can see it's beginning to feed through. If you're having trouble getting yours to feed through, you can take a pin, or in this case, my handy seam ripper, which I have with me at all times, and you can help guide it through. You only need to get it through a little bit so that you can grab that tip. So once you can grab the tip, pull it through a little ways. You want to make sure that this strip of bias tape stays straight behind the bias tape maker. And then you're going to iron it as it comes out. Now since I don't have an adhesive on this one, I have my iron on hot. If I had the paperback adhesive on here, I would have turned it to medium. So you put your iron on where it's starting to come out. You pull it through a little, move your iron and press. Pull it through, press. You don't want to go very far because you don't want those ends to flip back open. You want to catch them while they're still together. Take your time, move slowly, keep this strip behind it straight, and this will give you 1/4" bias tape without the adhesive. See, it's perfectly folded over my ends, and I have a very nice, accurate 1/4". Now, if you want to add the adhesive, I like the adhesive, and I think it works great. So on the next section of this piece, I'm going to put the adhesive on. You do need to turn your iron down to medium. First time I did this, I had my iron on high, and it caused the paper to ripple, and it just was not a good thing. So take a piece of your paper-backed tape, and you want to put it from the bottom to the top of that hole where the groove is. You're going to feed it down the groove, and then when you get to this tip, you want it to go under this silver tip so that it's feeding with your interfacing. There, I got it to come through. Okay, so straighten out your fabric again. Make sure that it's feeding evenly. What I mean by that is you don't want this feeding way off to the right or way off to the left, because then it will not be straight. You want it to be coming in exactly in the middle. And it really helps to keep it laying straight behind it. So now we have the two layers, the bias tape and the adhesive, and I've turned my iron down. So I'm basically going to do the same thing. I'm going to go slow, pull a little, press, pull and press. I'm being very gentle. I'm not stretching my fabric, and I do not use steam for this process. You would not want to use steam because of this paper. It would cause your paper to crinkle. If you need to stop and make sure everything's still feeding correctly, bias tape is still behind. Everything's looking good. So I'm going to keep pressing and pulling. Always keep an eye on the back. Oh, sorry about that. That's Dottie. When a cat comes, she lets me know that there's a cat in the pasture, and she does not like the cat visiting us. But let's try to finish this up. Okay, I went a little bit too fast and it popped out on me. Had a little blowout in this section. It wouldn't have done that, except that I was moving a little bit too fast. So now I have the paper backed adhesive. I have the 1/4 inch bias tape, and I'm ready to apply it to my project. If you're going to use this straight, you could cut your fabric on the straight grain, but if you are using it on anything where you need to curve your bias tape at all, you really need to cut it on the bias. I hope this helps. This is a great little invention. I think I paid $5 and something. I got it on Amazon. If you are going to use this adhesive, you need the 5mm adhesive so that it's not too wide. I was not paid anything for the video, and honest review, these are supplies I bought on Amazon and paid the retail price just like any of you would have. I hope this helps. Thank you. Have fun sewing.